Hello friends, hello kindred hearts, welcome back to Sage Thyme. We have a sacred is the word that keeps coming up. A sacred. It's more than a message. It's an atmosphere that's coming into your world. The energy it's intense, but it's welling from the heart space. It's coming from the solar plexus. I can feel it through my jaws. I don't know if I even said this yet. This is a reading for, of course, sun sign Gemini, and also anybody and everybody else that has Gemini in their natal chart, which is everybody. So the reading, do we want to just get right into it? Yes. All right, so the first card to come out from the Green Witch's Oracle is Altar, right? Sacred. And what I heard right away from this card was the sacred temple, and I instantly saw a person and a triangle around them. And I thought, oh, maybe it's like turning into a Merkaba, and it's very clear it wants to be a triangle with a circle around it, and symbolizing in general the sacred temple that is the sacred self. And something, as I'm saying this, it's being pointed out to me, is the symbol of the golden ratio with the circle and then the line through the center. And that is in part what you are representing, you, this human, standing within a triangle, within a circle, you being the line, the axes of time that is within the infinite and is protected by the three. What does the three mean to you? It means a lot of things, doesn't it? And in this sacred space, I'm hearing covenant, consecrate. To consecrate a building is to make sacred. You, of course, the vessel that houses your spiritual self, is in and of itself the sacred temple. And so to consecrate you, to honor your embodied spirit and the lineage of your spirit all the way up to source, is to make it sacred. And here you can see all these beautiful symbols that a person would create for a sacred altar, each symbol representing something. The mirror, the dark mirror, is the shadow self with the little flickers of light, the candles blown out, lifting off smoke, representing the breath that lets us know that life exists, because when the breath stops, there is death, and that's how we know that life is real. Real being anything that can be represented by a beginning and an end, but also a bigger part of the infinite. Yowza, so much coming through. So all these symbols that maybe in your home or in your world represent distinct sacred things. They're also a holograph to representing what's internal to you. So to make sacred the looking glass ball is, and how to honor that within, where you can vision and see, is to do the same with your own looking balls, right? And we can talk about that in an esoteric and a spiritual sense, and that is absolutely accurate and true. There's also the physical sense, because we are in a physical body, moving it and being moved to move it by something greater than ourself. So how to make sacred the self is to look in the world around you and outside of you and see what the different things represent and what needs tending. A plant that is struggling to thrive for its own particular reasons, why all the other plants are fine in that area. Spending time with that, looking at it both pragmatically and connecting from the heart space. What does this plant need? And what does it represent once you figure it out? Oh, it needed nitrogen in its soil, or it needed the roots to be unbound and replanted with fresh soil. What does that mean for me within me? What is my outside world telling me that I need to know? I need to have my roots unbound and loosened, and yeah, I'll have to cut some of it off so that I can grow new and expand in this space again. But by doing that, I get more nutrients and a new experience instead of being bound. Nitrogen, I can't think. The word osmolarity is coming in. So being able to, osmosis within the cells is the cell's ability to exchange with water molecules and different cations, electrolytes and things like that. So am I getting enough electrolytes? Am I getting enough macronutrients, minerals in my life? You know, these are the types of things you can ponder with. And that's one example of endless examples. But when we quiet our thinking mind and open the heart and remember what it is to be sacred, and then allowing the pace of that sacredness to take over within us and to dictate how quickly and how in quality we interact with the world around us, how quickly we move, how quickly we make our meals, and also how engaged we are with our steps and our gait and the energies moving through our bodies that we can feel. How engaged we are with preparing our food and connecting with the source and everybody and everything that contributed to each ingredient. And I hear, who has time for that? That's another big question with an even bigger answer, and we'll get into that in another video on time and Saturn and the strategy of time. But you do, because you came into this life as a representative of time, something that has a point within an infinite ongoing sequence of time. You have a point, and you are the point. And that point is to be in each moment of time in the most sacred way possible, and watch and learn and observe how the universe wants to work with you, how everything wants to work with you, and show you its cadence and its rhythm that is intricate and complex and beautiful and profound and simple in so many ways. And all we have to do is tune in to any part of it, or as much as we possibly can, and then let ourselves be moved, right? You walk into, I'm seeing a house music. You walk in to a rave, I don't think it's called that anymore, and there's this overwhelming just and all these different rhythms and beats and sounds overlaying and moving through. And if you have even the slightest, most remote sense of interconnectedness, you can't help but feel your body be moved by that. It's so profound, it permeates you. The more you make yourself sacred, the more you devote sacred space and time to all the parts of you and develop that as a lifestyle, the more you can tune in to the orchestration of the world around you and let it move you. And then, wow, that is just an amazing, that's one card. We'll see, 10:10 on the clock. The second card that came out, Chamomile. Got this gorgeous white with blue hues melting candle. Beneath the delicate, tender chamomile plants, a bud just in the face of the moon or the sun, you decide. And, you know, I pre-drew these as I always do. And one thing that came through very clear for me was make some chamomile tea, connect with this plant as part of the message. And y'all know I do that anyways. So I got, and I even brought it in here. I got my little lovely, turn it this way. It's a lazy Kung Fu tea thing. That's the official name. Forgive the shaking on the table. So I've got a little niblet, and as you saw, there's chamomile in there. There's also kava root, and I was called to rose. I don't have any rosebud, but I do have dried rose hips, so I ground those up, and then I put this is important for some reason, I put the rose hips in the kava with a warmer temp water and covered it, let the volatile oils and everything steep and drop back into it. And then as the water cooled, I added the chamomile flowers. I didn't even have to look up their smoke point and what temperature starts to denature the supportive molecules within chamomile. I know that it's a lower temp for kava, for what I'm looking for. And I just, you know the nature of something by observing it, and then connecting with it, you know it more. And so a toast of reverence to the kava, rose hips, and chamomile tea as we explore the card chamomile. One thing I was called to do, maybe we'll start with this. There was one other point that wanted to be made, that I was shown the image of a lawnmower mowing over a field of chamomile. It doesn't grow very high off the ground. And I heard how you treat it is what it can give to you, so if you, it's so like violent, taking a lawnmower and mowing over these their leaves are so wispy and feathery. They're just the most delicate, lovely little plant. And they do invoke and biochemically activate within the body different processes of induced relaxation and lowered cortisol levels, dropping the sympathetic, helping support the parasympathetic, that rest and digest and rejuvenate aspect of the autonomic nervous system. And here, chamomile wants to be treated like it's nature. It wants to be harvested and picked in a way that it's seen and treated tenderly, cared about. It has such simple needs that have really complex, or maybe not complex, very profound effects or implications. But its approach is gentle. It doesn't need to come in hard and fast. Kava can come in with a stronger, more of a medium, large size boulder effect in a way, but not moving quickly. Rose hips is, for me, an incredible detoxer with vitamin C, has immense amounts of vitamin C in it. Of course, how perfect rose hips are during the winter season. The chamomile wants to be understood and adored is what I'm hearing. And so back to the sacred self and consecrating the sacred self, making one's self, one's temple sacred. How well do you understand yourself? And I think that the honest answer for anybody would be there's always more. And maybe that's where our focus can be on when it comes to reaching and striving and attaining more. Perhaps letting that be the more be understanding the self more. Again, the more you understand the self and you approach it in all these different ways, which can be highlighted by an herb or a flower that you're called to, or a plant or a root, and that'll pop up in your day. And letting it change, letting it ebb and flow and go through cycles like the moon. The butterfly on here in the center, lower center, is saying, I am not just the bloom, I am the bud. I think that the butterfly doesn't want to simply be recognized for its end result. It really wants to be recognized also for all that it did in the chrysalis, which was a bit of a hellscape, right? And this also speaks about, this is a time of bringing in more clarity with what these cycles, the bigger cycles, the smaller cycles, all the mini cycles and overlapping cycles and the greater cycles. There's a call to, right now, more clarity and more understanding. And you know, we have right now, I believe, Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces at 27 degrees and some change. And that square, as I've talked about before, a square astrologically is like a drawer that's caught in a hitch. And pulling it is just going to dig that catch, that hitch, in more firmly. So the trick is with squares, with Mercury and Neptune. Mercury's out right now in alignment in Sagittarius and in alignment with the galactic center. And it's like, I really want to know it. And I want to know it now, and I want to apply it now, and I want to do things with it and travel with it and make things happen. And it's pulling hard because Mercury is fast. And it's the mind, and it's housed in Gemini as well as Virgo. And Gemini really having a strong focus on that vertical download aspect. And then what can be done with it, with the many facets, not just the two. That's a two-dimensional perspective. But when you do a three-dimensional and 4 and 5, but three-dimensional, there's many facets. So Mercury wants to know and have the clarity for all the things that it's done so far and gone through and everything, and it wants to apply it, and it wants to go and make things happen and change the world. And Neptune in Pisces is saying, no, hold on a second. Mercury, there's a bigger picture. And if you slow down, even though you move fast with your body, if your awareness and your presence can slow down, you can fill that space of each second with more information and more understanding and more knowing because of the strength of your presence within each second of time, thereby, of course, expanding time. I know this is really out there, but man, Neptune's coming in here with this right now, right? Pisces, is saying there are some big things about this, and you get to make it practical and bring it into practical application. But not while you're in alignment with the center of the entire known universe, the galactic center, galaxy. Let it come in. Be with it. You can move around. In fact, move around, flow, but let it be intuitive. Let the rhythm and the orchestration of the world around you sweep you up and carry you in the way that it wishes to, and doing the things that it wishes to do. Let go of holding on to everything that's coming in. It's too much. If you're standing under a waterfall trying to hold the entire waterfall that's falling down onto you and being absorbed in your skin, that's not going to work out so well. But when you let it just rush over you and through you, everything that needs to land is landing, and you will unpack it over time. And that's the message of the bigger cycle. All the things of all the time within one time still takes time to unpack and unfold and appreciate. Thinking of Christmas that we recently had, if you ever have had the two types of Christmases, either as a child or watching children, where I remember as a child at one parent's house, it was all the gifts all at once and everybody opened it, and it was just like a massive, chaotic, giggling moment of paper and ribbons flying everywhere and oohs and ahs, but everything was moved through so quickly. And everybody was focused on what they were focused on right in front of them. But then at my other parents' house, we took the time to open one gift at a time, and we'd pull them out from under the tree, and each person would have all their presents with their name on it in front of them. And then we'd go in a circle, and each person would open one gift at a time. And everybody, I know, maddening for a kid, right? But I quickly learned to love it. As soon as actually, I think I complained about it. And it was briefly explained. No, this is how we appreciate what each other gets and receives and how they feel about it. And I started to quickly learn through experiencing how much I enjoyed watching somebody else open a gift that I gave them. And I really, as a young person, understood that the gift of giving, am I saying that right? The gift of giving is the gift. Even when it doesn't work out. Because if I love that person, I'm really interested in feeling into and hearing how it doesn't work for them, so I can get to know them better and know what and how to exchange with them. And the same, how they see me when I open their gift. And maybe what they see in me that I don't see in myself, or not. So letting letting the symmetry of exchanges, letting the cycles of exchanges have symmetry, and also letting that symmetry be imperfect, not exact on all angles and sides. Letting things have differences and variations, and seeing how well they work together, letting them have imperfections, wrinkles and scars and wounds and kinks and broken parts even. And seeing the incredible stories that come through each and every small component of that. And then how the stories unfold as they interact with one another and as a whole. These are your cycles to observe right now. This is what Neptune is saying. And this is what Mercury is doing with it. Mercury is learning how to apply it to the self, within the self. And the more microscopic, nanoscopic, internally fractaling it goes, the more there is to learn. So it's infinite. That's the point of you, is your infinite nature within an infinite universe, and the fun and adventure and pain and suffering and joy and elation and finding balances and striking balances between all those polarities and dichotomies. Finding your happy spot, your happy space. I wanted to read Chamomile. And so, just to be clear, the card Chamomile that I pulled is from the Green Witch's Oracle deck. And I was called to specifically pull out the Herbal Astrology to read the reading on that. And I'm reminded to say, you are the medicine. So who and what are you connecting with? And what medicine, be it bitter or poisoned a little or a lot, or sweet and soothing or overtly sweet? What balance are you striking with what you're interacting with and engaging with and consuming in your exchange within the mandala that is you and the mandala that is your environment, the people and the places and the things that you interact with, consume and engage? Okay, Chamomile, inner peace. I'm going to do this. Inner peace is the key word. Chamomile in Latin is Matricaria camomilia, representing peace, restoration, softness, purity, graceful power, inner peace, delight, and harmony. This is what's being called to cultivate, for you to cultivate and engage with, and how. The astrological ruler is the moon and the sun. Reversed keywords would be disharmony, emotional distress, excess, worry, exhaustion, and anxiety. And we'll see if I read the whole thing. I have a feeling we will. The word chamomile, let's do this. The word chamomile is derived from the Greek Chamomile, meaning ground apple. In Spain, it has been called manzanilla, or little apple, for hundreds of years, a reference to the plant's refreshing, crisp, apple-like aroma. Chamomile flowers are traditionally used in teas, tinctures, and formulas to treat anxiety, insomnia, depression, digestive upset, and as an antiseptic, and more. Chamomile was regarded as sacred in ancient Egypt. I'm really being slowed down right now. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the rhythm of slowing this down. Chamomile was regarded as sacred in ancient Egypt and commonly burned as incense as an offering to the sun god Ra. Ancient Romans and Greeks valued chamomile for its medicinal properties and used it as a healing beverage and to soothe skin conditions. And those would be heat conditions like eczema and psoriasis would be examples. During the Middle Ages, European doctors frequently prescribed chamomile syrups and ointments to treat various ailments, and it was used as a bittering agent in beer. Vikings regarded chamomile as one of the 9 sacred herbs and used it to soothe digestion and as a rinse for their hair to give their braids strength and shine. Although chamomile embodies the shining sun, its medicinal qualities are also aligned to the archetype of the moon. Yeah, see? We went through this. The moon rules the gastrointestinal system. I did not know that. The emotional body and the nervous system. On a soul level, chamomile flowers assist us in releasing stored emotional tension from our stomach, nervous system, and solar plexus. Chamomile deeply nurtures our emotional landscape, able to soothe emotional distress and psychic stressors. And then the guidance here, I wasn't going to, and now I am. The guidance here is, if you find yourself often triggered and consumed by small stresses, be aware that they accumulate, creating a chronic state of disharmony and fear. Chamomile today is reminding you to not project your fears onto life and others. Allow yourself a state of internal peace and give yourself the greatest love imagined, making yourself sacred. Chamomile, like deer energy, instills a contained sense of innocence, warmth, and light within us. Deer blesses us with the power of gentleness to heal our wounds and the heart, mind of wounded beings. Don't push hard to do the work, Mercury squaring Neptune. It's the gentleness of spirit that heals all. And you know, that feels perfect and complete. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for your likes, subscribes, and comments always. I appreciate hearing from you. Until we speak again.